Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are taking on Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 12, so this is the final fight. What I opted for here was kind of like, it's the Hope Enna Kros kind of cheese, but it's not like the full cheese. Like, she's not going to be doing 60 mil shots here, and instead of Luna Freya, because Luna Freya is tied up in a different fight anyways, I brought Gladio, and the reason why is this boss gets a little bit aggressive, right? And you'd think like a defense comp would work really well here. It's kind of interesting how you have to balance this fight. So what it is as when we get this enemy weakened to a certain point, because the fight seems super easy at first, right? It's one enemy, he doesn't have a ton of health, like if the health goes down pretty quick. But what happens is later in the fight at a certain threshold, he's actually going to spawn 2 more copies of himself, and you actually got to kill 3 of these guys, right? And what happens is they do a lot of turn stealing, right, which is good for a defense comp. But the problem is you'll see their force gauge goes up really, really fast, but their force time is really, really short. The thing is, though, is if they get 3 force times, they auto-kill you. So the reason why you can't just run like a full-on defense comp and just sit there is it may take too long, because as they take all these turns, they're going to be filling their force gauge. So if you go too slow, like too passive with the fight, they'll get that 3rd force time and kill you. So you can't necessarily go full defense comp here. But then the other thing is they are still aggressive enough that if you don't bring any defense, like, they can just flat out kill you, right? And I even tried, so I did do like a run with Celis, and Celis works pretty good here. The only problem is like later in the fight, they start doing like Brave Gain HP attacks, so they're not actually doing Brave damage to Celis, and so like, you know, she has Last Stand, but if she gets attacked back to back, then she just dies. So I did have some issues trying to do Celis as like my main focus here with that. So I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna bring Gladio, because Gladio, he can just take all that and he'll just cheese it. So this is kind of a combo like defense offensive comp. So what I'm doing is basically, you can see I'm using Hope here to kind of ramp into Enna Kros, and then Gladio is just there to tank all of the aggressive stuff. So I kind of like this mix of tank and offense, because what it does is it allows me to survive everything. I am still getting good counter damage. And the nice thing here too is like I can even build up the gauge with Hope, and then Gladio can still get really heavy counter damage with that. But then, you know, I can ramp up and do big damage with Enna Kros to like still get the enemies dead like fairly quickly to ensure they don't get to that 3rd force time. Because you can see here, they're already in the 1st force time. And during their force time, what they're going to do is any action you take, they're going to auto jump cut in front of you. Now, right now, it's not that bad, but when there's 3 enemies, all 3 enemies will jump cut you when that happens, right? So it can get a little dicey without a good defensive unit there, right, to save you. So, yeah, we just let Gladio save everything. Now, when the enemies are doing attacks like that to Celis, it was fine, because she would just absorb it and they don't Brave Gain. But they were just doing, like, self-Brave Gains. Now, obviously, there are ways around it. You could do calls or things that maybe would stop the enemies from Brave Gaining, all that kind of stuff. But I just felt like this team comp here made sense for what units I had available to go in here without having to like unlock units, right? So I thought this turned out fine. So now we're at a full force time. So Enna Kros is going to be ready to pop off once we get Hope going. The only problem is I kept getting this annoying setup where it was like always Gladio following up Hope, so that like Gladio would have to get the first turn after Hope ramps up. But we go ahead and give it a try here. So we just do some... The other thing that's kind of nice about this, like, not being, like, the full Enna Kros cheese, is actually just getting to do some regular attacks with Enna Kros. And, like, look at that. That was just 2.6 mil for, like, a regular shot. That's pretty good for not having any force time up or anything like that. That's a pretty heavy hit. So Enna Kros still just good, like, as a DPS outside of just doing, like, the big mega force time thing, right? Alright, so we're going into Hope's force here. So I could take this a couple ways. I could just like attack and like let the gauge go up normally, but I decided to ramp up a little bit with Hope. The thing with Hope being my main force charger and my ramper here is that I am going to burn through his skills pretty quick, but that's what's so good about Hope. With his 15 and 35 both being force charging and ramping, like, he's got so many skill uses, so it's really nice that you can just really let Hope do all the work here and kind of go crazy. So I'm going to ramp it up. I think I'm going to do 1 or 2 more ramps here. So we're at the 615, and then, yeah, I think I go into an attack here. So then we're going to have 5 solid turns. So that means Gladio's going to get a turn, and then Enna Kros would potentially get 4 of those. What I did with Enna Kros to give her multiple turns was I did give her... Oh yeah, and then that was unfortunate. Like, we stole a turn there, so we actually had an extra turn. So that was kind of a bummer. And then, like, Hope steals an extra turn. I'm like, my setup's kind of ruined. Because what I was going to do was I was going to do Luna Freya Call and then, like, do a couple more turns in a row with Enna Kros. But since, like, the turn... I didn't pay attention to my characters jumping their own turns there. So that was kind of unfortunate. But right here, getting a counter at 800%, like, that was nice. That was like a 2.5 mil counter, right? So I didn't mind getting that counter there at 800% for sure. And I decided to go big damage here with Gladio. And then finally, Enna Kros is going to get at least 1 attack in, right? So I'm like, all right, this will just kind of be a mini force time. But you can see the other enemies have spawned. So now we can get some good chip damage done on them as well as we go through. So with Enna Kros, now I'm going to pop the big fat LD attack. Now this won't be like 60 mil because we're not launching. We don't have heavy prayer on. There's a lot of things missing, right? But just straight up, still 16 mil is pretty good, right? So we'll take a 16 mil just swing. And then we go ahead and summon because this is going to do big damage to everybody, right? That's why I like that brother summon. So yeah, 8 mil AoE to the whole, enemies. So very quickly bursting down the new ones that popped in. And then we can go ahead and just do a big shot here with Hope. His LD, I'm guessing, is what I do here. Obviously, I'm commentating over pre-recording here. But yeah, so Hope's going to LD here, and that's going to do some big damage to end it. And then what we'll do is we'll just ramp into another one, right? So, not too bad, because you can see the enemy in the middle is basically dead at this point. The right one's at 42. The other one's pretty full, but once again, they've got such low HP. You can ramp them down pretty quick. And even without force time, like, we're naturally just going to get a lot of HP down off these guys before we have to go into the next force time, right? So we're going to go through here and I think I just decide to ramp up again, like, immediately. I'm like, yeah, okay, so I do EX, but I think on Hope's next turn, I think, that's because I'm in a summon right now, so I don't want to waste my summon turns, right? So we go through and attack through, but I think on Hope's next turn, because you see Enna Kros is following up Hope, and then there's a bunch of enemy attacks. So what I'm thinking here is there's a couple ways I can go. I could ramp up with Hope, let Enna Kros take a turn, and then let enemies take a bunch of turns and get a bunch of counter damage in. Or I could just take Enna Kros, do Luna Freya, and probably just finish them, and I think that's what I end up doing. So I was kind of torn here because I saw all those enemy attacks. I'm like, all right, I got to get into this force time, because with all those enemy attacks, I could get a ton of counter damage, right? But I ended up not even doing the counter damage. So I just had a couple of ways I could have gone here. But yeah, I just decided I'm going to bust through all of Hope's skills, and let's just ramp up, use everything he's got. So we just go through and we're going to use up everything we got. Because look at all those enemy turns, man. Just so many. I even use an AA here. Just to, like, spam an extra turn in. And then, yep, let's just keep going. And then, obviously, Hope doesn't have enough skill use to, like, completely ramp here. But I'm like, I'm going to pop Force. And I'm going to ramp as much as I can with Hope. And then we'll get into that Enna Kros turn and just kind of go crazy from there, right? So Hope's got his little, brainwashing going on here. Okay, and then now we're in force time, so now Hope is just going to ramp up with the last few skills we have, and we're pretty much good to go from there. And really, Gladio just made this fight feel so safe. Like, Gladio is, like, hands down just one of the best characters in the game. He always has been. He's just crazy. Even when he's, like, in between reworks and, like, kind of dated, he's still good because he still tanks everything. Like, and the counter damage, even if it's weaker for the era, like, he still can do a lot of it, and it can still add up, right? So Gladio is definitely a very good investment character. Very good. But, yeah, so we ramp up as much as we can. 615 is pretty good, right? And then we can go ahead and pop the EX here. Get some pretty good damage on this. And then, so yeah, so we've got like 5 turns left, right? So I could either attack with Enna Kros and then do counter damage. But I'm looking at the health and I'm like, I don't know. I think Enna Kros can just finish it. So I go Luna Freya here and actually just decide to take the initiative and just take the turns myself. Because, yeah, at 741, Enna Kros can be dropping some bombs. So we drop one on the highest HP enemy here at 741. And let's see what we get here. So, yeah, 20 mil. 20 mil, and yeah, his health is just like chonked. It's just gone. So it's like, yeah, I think Enna Kros got this. So this guy's probably going to die here. He's at 33%. And what does he go down to? 21 mil and gone. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we pretty much got this. Because now the enemies are low enough. I can just EX here. And I think the EX just finishes it. Because this is AoE. And it deletes turns. So I'm like, all right, yeah, let's just do that. And they're done. So I was 20 mil AoE. Like, are you kidding me? Enna Kros just nuked that thing at the end there. So there you go. Not like the most cleanest run, but that was just my natural progression and kind of what I came to on this fight. Was I said I wanted Gladio to protect, and then I just wanted that nuke, and they didn't stand a chance. So anyways, guys, let me know how your runs went. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.